Welcome to the Entrepreneur Show, and today on the Entrepreneur Show, we're going to focus on real estate. And this is especially for all the budding entrepreneurs out there who wants to get into real estate. So we have it as a personality who has established himself in the industry, and is none other than the chairman of the Blue Ocean Group of Companies, Mr. S.Thumilan. A warm welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
And today on the Entrepreneur Show, we're going to focus on motivating the budding entrepreneurs out there who are interested in the real estate sector. So let's talk about your journey a little bit, Mr. S.Thumilan. How did you get into real estate?
It is a very interesting question. This is real estate and the construction I will look at together. We were actually providing accountancy services after my qualification of chartered. By the time there was one company was in a financial difficulties with the management issues and all that, but they were happy to hand over to us to run this business. So that was our first entrance to the business. But the first business itself we done very simple and systematic way, which has given a lot of mileage for the other projects.
There are many other factors which come into play when it comes to doing a business, not only real estate, it's anything. So let's talk about how it looks like here in Sri Lanka for the real estate business.
Sri Lanka has to more focus on real estate, obviously, because if you take any of the country, as I said, many conferences and the interviews, most of the countries become the developed nation through the real estate. If you take India, Bangkok, Dubai, Malaysia, Singapore, and etc., even Australia. But unfortunately, our focus on the real estate, we don't look at as a huge industry. The laws are changed time to time in ad hoc basis, which is not a good sign for the developers. Therefore, many of the developers went bankruptcies as well. I have to mention that due to not their mistake, which was the factors beyond their control.
As a property owner, as a chairman of the group of companies, what would you do in terms of attracting all these foreign income and tourists?
Number one, we had as you are aware, we had a resident visa for foreign investors. But time to time we change that law. Sometimes central bank circular is taking out that facilities. Sometimes the law is the immigration, they are not aware. Like there are inconsistencies department to department. So we need to maintain a consistency policy. If the foreigners are buying apartment, maybe $100,000 or $100 million or whatever, what is their resident visa criteria? They are not going for a voting. They are just getting a resident visa, which is available in all the countries, including England and Canada and Australia as an investor's visa. So we must consider that again in a very positive manner. Number two, as you said now, if they invest in here, what about their hospitalities and all that other facilities? Actually, if you buy the investors buying apartment in Sri Lanka, which will have creating a consumer demand, such as hospitality, schools, hospitals will gain more demand, and consumer market, supermarkets will get more businesses, etc. So therefore, the government should see very positively what are the other criteria they can provide for the foreign visas, maybe VIP treatment in the airport or separate entrance, like that. But Dubai have those things. They have different categories visa. And also, as you said, now foreigners or locals, they should have a consistency interest rate, not ad hoc interest rate which has collapsed the interest rate. For example, overnight we increase the interest rate to 30% and 32%. And why they have to buy the real estate by that time, apartment, if they put it to the fixed deposit for 3 years, they will get 90% return. Whereas when they put it at that time to the real estate, they are not going to get that much of return. So the government policy make unattractive.
Yes, and given the crisis situation the country was in, we see a little bit of improvement. So let's also talk on the Parate Act. Isn't that an act which has been implemented recently, which is helping all the budding entrepreneurs and company owners, and also for people in the real estate business?
It is very unfortunately the law was implemented 1990, almost 34 years ago, which has been misappropriated and misused by the various financial institutions and the bank. With a great difficulty, all the entrepreneurs, not only the real estate, hotels and the families and the public become a victim, severe victim due to these malpractices and all that. And with a great difficulty, we thanks to the president and the opposition leaders and the members of parliament and experts and the former governors and all that who has come forward and helped on the SME sector, MMSME, micro, small and medium sector to come out from this issue. Now anyway, they are going to change the law. That law will give lot of positive ideas. We are not saying don't take action on the default customers who are willful default customers. Actually here there is no willful defaulters because the country has went to the bankruptcy. The whole system is collapsed. That's what we are asking that. So there will be a favorable changes to the law, and after that I think the country economy will get better off.
And we've also come towards the latter part of the show as well. So for all the budding entrepreneurs out there, what would you like to tell them if they want to get into real estate and if they want to start, and this is like their first step? What would you like to tell them to work on initially?
It is important for an entrepreneur to take a challenge. Many people will say, don't do this one. If you do this one, this will happen. If you do this one, you will fail. And all story. Please, you should develop your confidence. And the entrepreneurs must take risks. But always you have to evaluate your risk factor and study how to mitigate the risk through your knowledge. It can be business risk or it can be financial risk. So you have to mitigate your risk. If you know how to manage your risk, you are the entrepreneur.
Exactly. Speaking of risk and speaking of real estate itself, that involves a lot of money. So obviously when someone's trying to get into it, this is something they'll always think about. Is it safe? Is it going to safeguard my money? Am I going to get any returns? So as you did mention that there should be some evaluation before taking risks. So thank you so much, Mr. Thumilan.
Thank you very much. It's a very interesting interview. We should have more interviews like that for young entrepreneurs.